Elected school board.
It's going to be very brief.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very brief. Okay, we are now in a work session for February 3rd, 2015. The first item on the agenda is, of course, the elected school board. It's on the agenda so that we can maybe, with having just had the public hearing, make any suggestions or in light of the public hearing so that it's fresh in our minds. Does council have any input in reference to this or anything you've had the chance to review over the last couple of weeks? Councilman Holloway?
Yeah, no, I would say that I did like Dr. Basehardt's recommendation as to putting language in there for reference to gender and
Diversity.
yeah, diversity.
That was excellent.
I had to look at our draft real quickly because I thought it was in there, but I'd read so many things.
You'll consider that, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, council consensus, so I'll find the language and insert it in the
We
bill and
have the
send it up.
language.
Oh, you already got the language?
We have Dr. Basehardt's language.
Yeah, okay, I'll just send it up to him then.
And he said it came directly from Caroline
Caroline
County.
County, right.
Would the council be in favor of that?
I can support that.
Yeah.
Yes, okay,
Is that consensus?
excellent, great, okay.
Wait, could you read the language once again, just to make sure that?
Yeah, sure.
Before we agree to anything, maybe,
There it is. For the two appointed members, I recommend that the following language be incorporated in any resolution. In appointing members to the county board, parentheses, the appointed official shall ensure to the extent practicable that the total makeup of the county board reflects gender, ethnic, and racial diversity. Caroline County has similar language, having diversity allows perspectives that may not survive the election process. I also recommend that the two appointed members be appointed not by the county executive, but by the governor of Maryland.
I didn't like that
I
part.
think that's,
I think we were referencing the Caroline County section only.
Yes.
so that's number one, Caroline County. Before comes, Caroline County has similar language.
Okay, and the council is in agreement on that. Okay, by consensus, thank you. If you would, Mr. Baker. Any other? I was concerned, does there need to be mention of the one student representative in our language? Baltimore has it in theirs.
Well, it doesn't do any harm. In the work that I put together for you, I knew that's not what you were concerned about, and that whatever the student provisions would be would remain.
Okay, so, Mr. Baker, if you can make sure that as far as what the final version might be, if you wouldn't mind at least looking at the Baltimore sections.
Baltimore?
Yeah, Mr. Kramer pulled that for us earlier. But if you could review that and see if that doesn't fit well within what we're looking to do. If the council is in agreement with that.
Would you be satisfied with the provisions that are presently in force in Wicomico County with regard to student membership on the board? I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe Larry does.
It's student membership, but it's not a vote.
Oh, well, it's not a vote anywhere. In none of the counties they're all
There's a
non-voting. All the student
representative
members
from
are
all
all
the high
non-voting.
schools.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned to you that in it's either Cecil or Carroll, I'm not sure which now, that each member of the Board of County Commissioners is an ex officio member of the Board of Education, non-voting.
It's not muddy those waters. Well, as far as the student representative is concerned, Mr. Baker, if you would, without changing the complexion of how the arrangement is now, just making sure it doesn't get left out.
Okay, for following Baltimore.
Yes. Any other comments? All right, and if you think it goes too far, let us know, okay?
Sure.
I think you understand very clearly what we're looking for. All right, moving on then from the elected school board. I know that we have guests here today to go over the Airport Commission.
Act to amend Chapter 5 of the County Code entitled Airport Commission in its entirety to clarify the roles of the Airport Commission, the airport manager within the county, and to include regulatory provisions related to the airport property, aircraft accidents, and disabled aircraft on the premises.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Executive, Mr. Strasburg. Mr. Bryant. Gentlemen,
Good evening again.
if you want to give us an overview, we'd appreciate it,
Surely.
because it was complicated.
Well, let me try to uncomplicate it for you. Actually, the preamble to the bill provides the real context for this proposed change, and I'll read that paragraph. Historically, the operation and control of the airport has been the responsibility of the airport manager and staff who were and are employees of the county and the airport commission. However, the airport manager is appointed by the county executive, subject to the confirmation of the county council, and the airport enterprise budget is approved by the county executive and submitted to the county council as part of the annual budget process. Airport capital projects are subject to the county capital improvement and budget process. This legislation is intended to clarify the position of the airport staff, and the airport commission within the current county governmental structure. Now that we are an executive form of government, it is our recommendation that the commission be advisory in nature, as are our tourism advisory board, our civic center advisory board, and our Parks and Recreation Commission. We believe that an asset that's as critical as the airport to the local economy should be under the day-to-day direction of the county's elected officials. We believe that will provide for much more efficient and timely decision-making, and we believe that it will also provide for a more robust effort with regard to addressing the opportunities that are extant with the airport property in terms of economic development. I believe that the commission form of management is really a holdover from our commissioner form of government, and that when we change to an executive form of government, we failed to recognize that this asset, this department, ought to be looked at differently in terms of how it's managed.
Yeah, just, we want to market the airport and go at it strongly.
Councilman Hall?
Well, having sat on the airport commission for the last number of years, I'm in complete agreement with this, that we need more direct control. The airport commission meets every 2 weeks or twice a month, and in order to do the daily business of the airport, it's very necessary that we have concurrence with the executive on a daily basis. So I'm in agreement with this provision.
Councilman- yes.
However,
However,
I would like to make sure that we get an amendment to this legislative bill that will be introduced that states that the airport manager will serve at the direction of the executive, or will serve at the pleasure of the executive with the concurrence of the county council, rather than as it exists in our charter now, where it's only at the pleasure of the county executive.
so as the change is made, it will be as if we're just reapproving it'll be an appointment and approval. Am I
Well, I'm
saying-
thinking about discharge, actually, if termination, if the county executive, or if the airport manager is terminated, that it has to be with the approval of the executive and the council.
If there's a
There's nothing in here now. Right now, if this were brought, this is will be introduced as a bill, and so as a bill, it would be subject to the charter. Unless, and the charter states that directors or department heads serve at the pleasure of the county executive and can be terminated at the pleasure of the county executive. But I'd like to see the council have control over the termination of the.
The manager will be a department head? Is that what, the manager will be a department head?
Yes.
But,
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
well, that would be my question. If the manager's a department head, and the charter says department heads have to be confirmed, by the council, we can't just put in law that, well, this department head, there's a different procedure for discharge. I mean, not that I necessarily disagree with you, but I'm concerned of what the charter, does the charter allow us to change
Well, I think-
dismissal procedures for department heads?
Well, I think we can, since this is just introduction of a new department, and since it's a new department, we can put in anything we want into this department.
I don't know, I mean, that might be a question for legal. I'm truly trying to.
Charter things versus not just the bill, you're talking charter then, right?
Well, not necessarily, well, in this particular case, we just want to make sure that the airport.
I have no problem with what you're trying to do, I'm just wondering whether or not we have to go for a charter.
Whether we go for a charter change or just,
that, yeah.
or whether this can just be entered into this one portion.
That's only my question too.
I think
You can do
the,
that by legislation, can't you, Bob? I mean,
No, I don't think you can do this by legislation. It'd have to be a charter change.
okay.
Charter change.
Because I have to point out, the airport, I believe the airport manager is in the charter as well.
Is already.
Is he?
I was gonna
I
ask you.
don't know, I
I thought
have
he
to
was-
check that.
The airport manager's not in the charter.
Okay.
well, wouldn't we have to have a charter change to create this new department?
No.
We could just
The
add.
charter provides for
Okay.
the establishment of departments.
I kind of agree with Mark Kilmer's concerns on that as well. It seems as if we're going to make an exception for one department head as opposed to all the others, and I think that it goes against the theme of the charter.
Right.
And it's a huge exception to how all the other department heads are structured by charter.
Well, I agree with that also, but is there an urgency for this to be done? And if this is done, and let's say we have a bad day, and we want to terminate him, and all of a sudden.
Well, I guess my point would be that if we want to incorporate your change, we would have to suggest that as a charter change to be voted on, which I'm not necessarily opposed to, but that, to stay in line with the law.
I don't know, did we decide that it would have to be as a charter change, or could we do it just for this one item?
No, it have to be a charter.
Must be a charter
Yeah.
amendment.
Yeah,
It
the
would
charter
be-
is very clear that all departments are,
I know it all.
I would prefer
That's right,
consistency.
yeah. So it would have to be a charter change.
Oh, I'd
yeah.
prefer
If
consistency.
you want to make this restriction, yeah.
Yes, okay, all right, so
In the
then,
meantime, I don't want anybody exposed.
Affect all the other ones?
if you're gonna make a charter
Now
change,
you can do that any way you wanted to.
yeah, but if you're gonna make a charter change on one, then you would be changing the process for all the department
Right,
heads,
might
in
as
my
well do it all
opinion.
at
You don't
once.
wanna piecemeal unravel this whole thing.
Of course.
I would
In a
think
perfect
that would
world.
be wise for all departments. And I understand this one, don't get me wrong, with the FAA connections and that type of thing, I understand where we are.
Okay, is this germane to the issue then? Are we in favor of a charter change for all department heads?
Maybe at another time.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger question.
I'm not.
Can we table that?
I suppose, John, your concern is that from a technical standpoint, the management of the airport is technically much more complex than probably any other department we have because of the interrelationships and the regulations that are imposed by FAA, TSA, and carriers. So it's, it's a very, very specialized position.
Right.
I understand that.
Well, if we didn't make this a department, you could put in law whatever limitations on
If we didn't make him
dismissal.
a department head.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, a department head, then,
Just a supervisory position?
Could do that, couldn't we?
Boy,
I don't know if
No.
that messes everything up. but-
that ain't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, from my own personal standpoint, I for lack of any better terms, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think what we're trying to I think what we're trying to do here is to, A, make the operation of the airport more efficient on a day-to-day basis. I mean, there are when you look at the opportunity at the airport, when you look at an asset of that importance and that magnitude, meeting twice a month gives me pause for concern. There are times when we can't get quorums.
Sure.
There are times when Bob needs decisions made very, very quickly. And I just personally believe that from a management efficiency standpoint, I think it's important, given the nature of that asset and given the opportunity that asset presents to the county. And,
I'm fine with this. I just
you know,
want to
that's
make
my
sure
major
that the
concern.
secondary.
And I
portion
understand
of
your
it,
concern about
does
the,
not get sidetracked to the point, Mr. Council President, where it should be something that we should be very concerned about.
Any other comments? One that I had was in the Article 2, it seems like we were interchanging advisory commission with airport commission to the extent that it was a bit confusing. It says creation of an airport commission. And I believe maybe it says creation of an advisory commission. Should that be creation of an airport advisory commission? Because right below it under membership, it says Wicomico County Airport Commission.
yeah, I would defer to the county attorney.
Because you're referring to it as the creation of an advisory commission, but then in the membership explanation, you're calling it an airport commission. So,
I mean, it's a matter of style. We could have just said creation of commission and then said we're creating the Wicomico County Airport Commission. If you want, we can put creation of Wicomico County Airport Commission.
an airport advisory commission?
No, I just say stay with the Wicomico County Airport Commission.
Okay,
That's actually the name of it. The capacity is an advisory commission.
okay.
It's like all of Rec and Parks. None of them are called advisory commissions, but their duties are advisory.
Okay. That was, I'll,
I see what you're saying.
It's a matter of construction.
understood.
Get it?
Any other comments? Okay. Do we want to put together a consensus at this time as far as the council's feelings on this? I know it'll be coming back again.
It'll come, if you give a consensus, it will be presented to you in legislative session as a legislative bill to introduce. Of course, there'll be a public hearing.
Sure. So consensus, move forward. Consensus to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, do we know of any opposition in the community to this?
Probably only by some of the members of the airport commission.
We'll probably find out.
Okay.
If-
All right,
if-
all right, just,
I suspect that when we have a public hearing, we'll find out.
okay, good enough, makes sense to me.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
At this point in time, we now close the open work session for Wicomico County Council, February 3rd, 2015, and we will be going into a closed session.